Hey! Thank you, Mike.
Well, he's a winner. He's the champion today.
Mike, you saved me from you saved people from my boring stories, and now they're gonna have to listen to them. Oh my gosh! Now we're on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Thursday night. Origin Factory. I'm John. This is Rob. Rob's the guy there in the white hat. I'm the one in the glasses. Rob's in beautiful Texas. I'm in Minnesota. Thank you, Mike. Mike, now you got to listen to my boring stories. There's a flip side to this, you know. Anyways, want to just mention that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you got anybody in your life you haven't talked to in a while, or somebody's kind of dropped off the radar, maybe give them a holler and say hi, say how's it going. Mike, they can hate me. I got to put that up on the screen. They can hate me. Oh, Mike, did you see the forecast for this weekend? Looks like we need to go crawling. It's going to be beautiful all weekend, Mike. So if you got a day in mind, let me know. I'll try to make it happen. Because we've got 70s for the weekend and sunny. So we got a good forecast coming up. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, I know what I wanted to. Before I get too far, this is kind of a hot topic, kind of, sort of, kind of. Screen share, get to there. Da da da. Yes. So, with the impending tariffs and our economic situation here in the United States, Horizon has canceled a bunch of their events this year. Proline by the Fire was not mentioned, but a lot of their other stuff was mentioned. And kind of, it sounded like anticipation of not knowing how these tariffs are going to impact their business directly and how long the tariffs are going to be in place and that kind of stuff, maybe. So they're canceling a bunch of their events.
Except Europe. Oh no, it does say. Oh, it
No,
says
it's
Axial.
yeah,
Now
it says
too.
Europe 2025. Yep.
Oh wow.
Like I said, I think the only thing that wasn't mentioned was like Proline by the Fire, and that's the end of the season. So, but yeah, I told you the other day, I was at my local hobby store and was a little disappointed in them because they had put stickers over the boxes of certain products. The one brand I noticed the most was, I think, Arma and Traxxas, and they covered up the pricing because, you know, in response to the proposed tariffs or the tariffs going on. And the reason it kind of frustrated me was I don't understand why you wouldn't sell down your inventory on the prices you paid at, you know, originally, and keep the pricing in check with it versus respond to it to product you already have on the shelf. But I don't know. I would use that as a motivation to stir up sales and say, here's your last chance to get them at this price, you know? But
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense to me too. You could really kind of sell it, offer it as a sale
yeah,
incentive.
well, it's literally a sale as a consequence of the current economic situation. It's not even so they've got the benefit of having it reduced price, and they didn't have to pay, and they paid their normal price for it at that time, you know. So they're getting a sale without having to take a hit, you know. Granted, it'll cost them money to put stuff back on the shelf.
But
You know,
instead of three, order one.
well, yeah. I mean, but you know, nobody likes to carry inventory. I mean, it's a good opportunity to sell down your inventory too. You know, I don't know, and then see what people still want after the prices go up. I don't know, or hold off on some of those products and promote the other stuff. I don't know. It's so multifaceted. You can see it from many different directions and justify it in many different ways. You know, but
Yeah. to me, it would be if I was running a shop, I would be like, okay, now's the time to move all the inventory that we don't move on a regular basis and maybe not get some of that back. Yeah, like you said, do an inventory flush,
Right.
and really, God, I have a local. I don't want to call it a hobby shop because all we have around here anymore is hobby
Hobby town.
towns.
Right.
Yeah, so we're starting to see it trickle that way too.
See, our hobby towns I think they've even flipped over different owners. They haven't been as successful as the local stores. And they haven't been and it seems like they carry such a wide variety. They're not really in tune with what our local market is. Whereas our normal hobby stores, they know what sells here. And so they're pretty they're in stock. They keep stock of what sells. And then the hobby town, it seems like, man, you got a bunch of stuff here sitting on the shelf that doesn't even really apply too much to this area. You could put that with more stuff that people want for here type thing. Well, I mean, I guess
Um,
they probably can control what they stock, but maybe the store manager just doesn't.
so you have hobby towns.
I think we might have one or two.
Okay, so in the DFW Metroplex, I think we have five or six. I can't remember. So we have Dallas. Hold on, give me a second. Dallas, Louisville, Plano, Arlington. There's five. I think there's five. Of the five, four of them are owned by one person.
Sure.
So, and he's trying to get the fifth. When the opportunity comes up. I mean, and as I understand it, Hobbytown is basically an extension of Horizon, right? I mean,
I don't
they're pretty.
know. I mean, they're in bed with them, but I don't know if they're directly linked to them.
Well, okay, yeah, maybe not directly linked. Maybe that their biggest, the
Supplier.
Hobbytown's biggest supplier is
Or it
probably
might be their
Horizon.
exclusive supplier, possibly. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I would think
your mic's cutting out a little bit here and there.
I think it's the printer.
Oh,
I think the printer's triggering the mic back and
gotcha.
forth.
Gotcha.
Sorry, this is my fault.
We're gonna have to get you a regular microphone.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's one of the things I did today while I was out running errands was I stopped by Micro Center and looked
No,
at
you
some of
can
that
even
stuff.
get these little ones here, and these aren't too expensive.
Oh, I got an idea. Hold on. Do your thing.
You can't leave me here alone, Rob. I don't know what to do without you. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Let's see. These old flapping lips. Evening, made my last. Had to get order for Origin. Now just waiting for shipping notification.
How's this sound?
Oh, much better. What are you
Ta-da!
using? Oh, now your
My
thing's
earbud.
working. Nice.
Yep. I think the printer. It's not a lot of noise, so I think when it hits
Right.
an end, there's a little spike in the noise. I think it's triggering. So
Sure.
awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah, I dropped my H10 Origin off at the sign shop last week to get vinyl cut for it, and I get to be a nervous mother now and make sure they take care of it and don't leave it out in the open where customers mess with it. But it sounds like they're
Do you,
extremely
do
busy.
you do you worry about them saying, "Hey, check out what we got in," and showing it to people?
I truly don't, Rob. I don't worry about my stuff anymore like that, but I use it as an excuse to go in there
Okay.
and be a nervous mother instead of being a pesty customer.
Mm.
Because they've had my
Just so you can have visitation.
because they've had my optics since December.
Oh wow.
So that's another livery project. And it's like now I'm getting into that position again where it's like, okay, do I start getting a plotter and start making my own graphics, and or do you just spend the time trying to find, find somebody that's willing to do it, and it's just, I don't know. I'm at the point in life I don't always like. Told you before, don't always like taking on new skills. I mean, I like learning, but man, I just gets expensive every time you learn something new.
Totally.
RCX saying good evening. Good evening to you, RCX.
Oh, there we go. Haha.
So yeah, so I got 2 liveries in the work that I'm waiting for. Mike says locally you can only find one hobby town in Minnesota. It's in Duluth. Yeah, Mike, I thought we had one. I mean, this was a while ago, but I thought it was Brooklyn Center or Brooklyn Park that had one. Because I remember they had, I mean, granted they're probably gone now, but I think we did have one in our metro. And I think because I remember they had like touring car racing and stuff on the asphalt in front of the outdoors. It was like in a strip mall in that area. I mean, it's probably gone now, but maybe it didn't survive COVID or something like that. Who knows? But they've kind of come and go. They just haven't done well against our local hobby stores, I don't think.
Man, they shut all our hobby stores down.
Yeah. I mean, we have more specialty stores. I mean, we have one store that has 2 locations that covers a little bit of everything. And then we've got, like I was telling you today, we've got one shop, RC Car Kings. Scotty's checking in. Your buddy Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Good evening, guys. Mike, we had one in St. Cloud. That wasn't the one where we had the indoors track, was it? That wasn't a hobby town, was it? Mike? But yeah. But yeah, so I mean, most of our hobby stores are specialized. Like we have a store that specializes in plastic kit models and electric trains only. And then we got another one that specializes only in RCs with wheels. So it's kind of nice having specialty shops because then they have a lot of support stuff and accessories for exactly what you need. So you're not going there just for one piece and then ordering everything else you need off the internet, potentially. Oh, Scott says A Main handles Hobbytown. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking of too. When you were saying that, I'm like, yeah, I don't think it was Horizon. Yeah, A Main supplies Hobbytown. Mike, yes, it was. So yeah, we had a hobby store in a neighboring community that's like 60 miles away, and they had all sorts of indoor racing. It was a big warehouse style steel building, and they had an indoor crawling track. They had carpet racing for buggies. I think they even had slot cars, and we used to go up there in the winter because it's a good hour from us. So we don't have a reason to go that far in the summer because we got stuff close to home. So we would go up there in the winter a couple times just to kind of get out in the middle of winter because, our winters were kind of locked indoors for a good chunk of time. So, anyways.
I miss some of the specialty, the private hobby stores because you gotta. They always get the neat stuff. They always get the
Yes.
oddball.
Right. Yeah, because the guy running the place is in tune with that. Yeah, and this
Mm-hmm.
gentleman that did this one with the indoor tracks, he was really big into everything. So he had all sorts of stuff there. I mean, he had like quarter scale NASCARs and stuff like that for oval racing. I mean,
Oh
he had
wow.
boats and he just loved all RC stuff. And that wasn't his primary business. He was into something else, and that was kind of like a sideline for him. But then he had some economic problems and ran it into the ground, and now it's gone. So there was a period of time there where there was almost nothing on the shelves, and yet they were open. And it's like, this just doesn't feel right. What's going on here? Then it was shortly after that they were locked up, and I think he overextended his credit on his people that were supplying him, so then he wasn't paying his bills and blah blah blah. Yeah, hobby store is not the way to make a living.
That's how you take a whole bunch. That's how you make a little bit of money. Is you start with a whole bunch and you open a hobby shop. Yep.
Yep. Just like racing. Yep. How do you make $1 million racing? Start with $2 million.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A-Main acquired Hobbytown in 2023. It said.
Oh, so they own the franchise or the name or whatever, and they sell
That's what it
franchises.
says.
That
Yeah,
makes
they're
sense.
acquired.
That makes sense.
I don't. I don't know what the legalities behind that is.
Well, so
I don't
basically,
know why I was thinking Horizon.
A Main is selling a franchise called Hobbytown, and you buy your everything through them. You know.
Yeah. It just
So
surprises me with all the E-Flight, Arma, and stuff that they carry. You know that they carry most Horizon products almost exclusively. Losi, Arma, Traxxas. They very rarely carry Associated here. I don't know about anywhere else, but
well, Associated kind of pissed off the dealers anyways because of the way they were selling to the public direct and all these pre-orders and stuff. Because I remember just recently when they came out with the 40th RC10, and I was like, I want to make sure I get one. I was buying into the frenzy, you know, and then they were taking pre-orders online directly with Team Associated, and it's like, and I was talking to my brick and mortar store, and they're like, well, we're going to try to get them. We don't know how many we're going to get. And it's like, so that just forced me to go with Team Associated directly because I felt that me placing an order with them directly and them taking my money, they're going to get me one. And then if I did it with my brick and mortar store, with their uncertainty, and that's not their fault. It sounded like Team Associate just wasn't being straight up with them. And then it's like they can't promise me, and it's like, and this is supposed to be a limited run and buying into the hype. So it's like I got to order from them directly to make sure I get one. You know, that kind of BS. So
now you want your money back.
I don't care about Team Associated right now. They kind of burned me out, but well, you too. It sounded like they just keep popping stuff out.
Yeah, the Kenwald now. Oh,
I just call them new paint
I love
schemes,
Kenwald.
new box
I
art.
love Kenwald.
Mhm.
Brian Kenwald is a god. He will always be a goat in my mind. But
Sure.
I just I just don't think he would even be on board with what they're doing now. So,
Yeah, it's not real flattering.
mm-mm.
Um,
Nope.
let me get this up here. There we go.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at the HPI 164 scale RC.
Yes. I'm excited about these. I am honestly excited about these. And I will explain why in a minute.
Um, God, I don't think I've seen the retail on it yet. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Where to
No, I'm dying
buy?
to see though.
Where to buy? Online reseller. I mean,
I don't know. It's
at least it's a normal sized radio too. At least they didn't give you a small radio because that's a small vehicle and do that weird stuff. 22 grams is the
so
weight. 45 minutes of runtime. Man, that'd be great sitting at the airport waiting for a flight. No.
So, do you ever watch any of the videos of the micro or nano scale stuff where they in Europe where they build the semi trucks and the little delivery trucks and the little cars and they race them around on these little bitty towns? You ever seen any of that?
No, but I've seen something similar where they have um in model railroading, they have cars like this size that have steering and everything, and they follow a tracer wire in the you make a road and put a tracer wire in it and it follows the tracer wire, not
Yeah,
physically.
they call that wire guidance. Yeah, they use magnets. It's pretty cool. But there's a whole group of guys. I'll send you videos later. But there's a group of guys, and they go crazy with this super scale. Like we're talking 10 channel semi trucks that the lights work. They dump. They
Yes.
can
Yep.
yeah. I mean it's crazy. And I priced out a lot of those are in Europe, and I priced out to get one and to bring it here, and it was, I mean, it was just crazy expensive, and you were limited to what you could get. From what I understand about this new Nano, is it's based on basically the Hot Wheels style wheelbase. So it's you've got that, but also with all the 3D and resin printing options out there for Hot Wheels, I wonder how much of that's going to correlate over to these, where you can buy this, take the body off, and get a truck body or a race car body or whatever you want, and really do something with it.
Right. That's what I'm curious with this. If they're going to make a platform where you're going to buy bodies and keep a car so you can kind of, switch them out for less expensive, or if you're going to be committed to buying a car every time, if they're going to make it kind of, well, I mean, that's a big part of this hobby is customizing. So I'd hope they would make, so you could buy bodies and not have to buy a complete car every time.
Yeah, I was late getting into the Mini Z thing, and it's still a little big, but I think these could be a riot. You could set up a racetrack on your dining room table and
Yeah.
and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Matt from Scale Builders Guild, he just did a video that was basically on top of his cutting mat, on top of his workspace. And he printed out some barriers and stuff like that and made a track on his bench top. I mean, now you're getting something small enough you can do that with. Oh geez, Rob.
I'll
When
have
is
a
is that
nano version.
is that a new release, or is that something you just found and they've been out a while?
It's 7 of 10. Let me see what the release date on it is. I'm looking. Man, I should have put my glasses on. It's fairly new.
Okay.
And they actually have it in a super treasure hunt with rubber wheels and really really cool. So I'm looking for one of those. But I just thought this would make a cool HPI Nano body.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can't find the retail on this guy. Do you know what the
I can't
retail?
either. I look. I can't find it. They may not have released it yet. I wonder if the tariff thing is causing that to be a problem. They don't want to release a price and then it, you know, get blown out of the water by tariffs.
Yeah. What's it called? Nano TTR. Is this the? Yeah, I don't. What the hell is this one? Oh, that's a 10 scale. That's HPI
I don't know. I'm
RS4.
just,
Yeah, I can't
I'm
find
really
nothing.
excited about it. I think it's going to be kind of cool. I think
I would hope.
it
I
was
would
only a
hope.
matter of time.
I would hope it'd be kind of like in a $99 price range or something. I would hope, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's, I was looking at the Matt's video of it and it sure looks like the rivet holes on a Hot Wheels lineup almost perfectly with the two holes that they have for that thing. So, oh, it'd be cool. It would be super cool. And I honestly would like to see them do it in a drift or offer some drift options. Like drift wheels and tires and stuff like that. I think that would be kind of fun
I
too.
wonder if you can get it to perform that way though, with how light it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I know
maybe.
HPI was impacted by the tariff. So yeah, it says to be announced. That was the other thing I heard. There was some talk about Horizon that their remaining inventory pre-tariff they were going to save for selling online to customers direct versus saving it for their stores. And that's
Oh
ticked off,
wow.
and that's upset a few people because they're giving well, and I kind of agree with the person that mentioned it, saying that, well, you started out as a supplier, not a retailer. Shouldn't your first priority be to your customers, not to the retail customers directly, you know? So,
Yeah, they're basically killing the stores.
yeah. So, but of
We
course,
tell people to shop local, and then you got a supplier that's like, "Yeah, shop local," and now
right. We're going to
we're gonna
control
supply.
everything.
Wow. Oh,
Well, here is, let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's an actual listing. Let's see. HPI Nano TTR 1960 Mustang, $82, tax included.
that I will buy two of them. Hi, Tammy's home.
Hello, Tammy.
John
Th-
says hi.
Thanks for
She brought the
keeping
mini back nice and safe.
and wet.
28 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. No, the little mini, the little mini.
The mini.
Yeah, the mini. Man, I really am excited. I haven't been this excited about one in a while, but I'm kind of excited about this. I got really excited about the mini digger, and I'm excited about this. So I'm hoping that it works. I'm hoping that it's as cool as I'm excited for.
Uh-huh. Yeah, $82. And if they can sell bodies for like maybe $15 or something with a matching set of wheels or something, or $25, I don't know. They could sell little hop-up kits, to personalize them or
Oh, I'll be buying a resin printer and going crazy with
oh, that's
printing.
true. Yeah, you could 3D print. That'll be the thing to do, is to 3D print them right away, and then you could do anything you want.
There's
But
a bunch of already guys that do modified Hot Wheels, and there's like a ton of resin 3D files out there for free.
uh-huh.
So, oh man.
Not I suppose that'll probably be the only wheelbase they have, so you'll have to alter all your wheelbases to match.
Well, depending on the chassis, you might be able to stretch the chassis.
Oh,
It didn't look super complicated.
you know what else would be neat is redo some of the classic Tamias, like the 959 and stuff like that, and then you'd have mini RCs of some of the classics. That'd be cool. Especially all the touring car
Yeah.
bodies and the Group Cs, like you were saying, like the 787 and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. You could much more affordable. Just a different way
Well,
to.
and I mean, think how cool it'd be if you could go on a trip, or like, for me, like when I go buy a lot and I got to stay in a hotel room, I could take two or three of these in my pocket and be able to play with them in the hotel.
The last thing you're going to
So
want to do on a trip like that is play with toys. Now we
you
need
don't
boat.
know me
Now we
well.
need boats that size.
They already have those.
That size? That
Hmm.
small? Really? Okay.
Yeah, but they got the stupid, cheap, round push button remotes. They're not proportional. It's just a right button, a left button, a forward button, and a
Full
reverse
right,
button.
full left, straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, I know what I
Oh
was.
man.
I had to. I got to show you the set of wheels I was putting together today. Take a
Man,
look.
you do some of the prettiest wheels.
Take a look at that.
Hold on, it's got to pop up on the on
Oh.
the on the screen. Because there's like a 10-second delay between
Uh-huh.
this and this. Oh, John, that looks very nice.
So that's gray, and that's that light gold color that my anodizer uses.
What color is the gold?
They call it light gold. It's kind of like a tan. It's I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not. It's not. I wouldn't think gold at all.
yeah, it's kind of a washed out gold, like a titanium kind of, really a sharp color.
Man, those would look good on my trench knife.
Sure.
Man, those would look good on my trench knife. I got that Northwest Scalers trench knife in, and it came Cerakoted in what I call OD green. That's the big thing that he's doing with
Tell
his
everybody
chassis.
what the trench knife is, because that's a new product from
Oh,
them.
yeah, Northwest Scalar Design that does a lot of the really cool leaf sprung chassis. They do a lot of limited edition trucks. They've done a Scout, and now they're doing Battle of the Builds, Ford, Dodge, and Chevy trucks. They've done Power Wagons, a Scout, a Volkswagen, and recently the one that I got John to buy was the Plymouth Duster or
Trail
the Ram
Duster.
Charger, Trail Duster.
Right.
And so they offered a new chassis called the trench knife, and it's a limited run. And the cool thing is, normally your chassis rails are a cut aluminum, and they just come raw when you get them. When they make a limited edition truck, they go ahead and they stamp it with a number. So there's a certain number of them, and these are the first ones that he's offering to be Cerakoted from him. So you get them. It's a competition chassis more than anything. It's designed around using portal axles with spring under axle, so you have the maximum amount of ground clearance and just awesome performance. It's a it's a brand new design, and it's really. I got one in yesterday, and it's really really cool. I really dig it. So
We
those
got
wheels
it.
would look killer on it.
We got our Canadian checking in, Ash. You see that
Hey,
little?
I'm late. Oh,
You see that little gold circle behind his name?
yeah.
He's
What's that?
he's our first and only member.
Oh, no refunds.
Ash.
Oh, hi Ash.
Oh, Ash is surviving an election. Canada's doing all sorts of crazy stuff again, but whatever. We're not going to get into politics, but
No politics, please.
oh lordy,
Oh man.
good times. Um.
So,
Oh, show us your print that you got going on.
oh, the one that I got running. All right, let me
Yes.
see if I can do this. All right, let's see if we can do this. I'm gonna try to do this without disconnecting.
So Rob's got a bamboo carbon, and that's a Porigen hood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you follow Rob, he just did this bright green Terrabug, and he did a Porigen hood for it too.
Well, I
And
actually did. I
he
did a
got
Porigen hood, but I molded the Terrabug fenders to it.
right. And he got so bored with it, he had to start another one right away. And he's looking for a cage if anybody has a cage. Or did you already find a cage?
I have not found a cage yet.
So if anybody has an optic
So
cage that they're selling, you can find Rob at Extreme Toys on Facebook.
and I hadn't got bored with it. The green was a
Okay,
test print.
you got caught up.
Well,
You ran out
so
of
I
things.
printed
You
that
ran out
green.
of things to print. You wanted to print another one.
Well, the
Yeah.
green was a test print. It's done on cheap PETG filament, and I had 2 rolls of it, and I didn't know how it was going to run. So before I put so that stuff cost me about $10 a roll, $10 a kilo. The
Hey, easy on
filament
the.
that's the red that I'm running there, it is $35 for a half kilo. So it's a bit more expensive.
Oh,
So I wanted to make
Lordy.
sure it would run right before I did it again.
There is no such thing as a cheap hobby anymore, is there?
Mm-mm.
Everything is.
Not when you buy a roll of plastic for $35.
And you can't melt it down and make it again. That's, yeah.
Yes, you can. I saw a new product. For anybody out there that has got a 3D printer, they now make a blender. So you take all your scraps, you throw them into the blender. The blender
Make it into pellets,
chops them up,
pelletize it basically.
and
Yeah.
then it makes filament out of those pellets that you can then run.
Put it into a hopper and warm it up and extrude it, and yep.
You load it into the blender, and then it spits out filament when it's ready onto a spool.
You know damn well
It
it
is
won't be as strong as the original though.
well, and the color. I'm sure the colors are going to be kind of
Oh, it's
doo
gonna
doo
be one
brown,
color. It's gonna be some muddy, pukey
doo doo
color.
brown.
It'll be
Yeah, but for like test prints, it would be perfect.
right.
In
But you
prototyping, I do a lot of
right, but you
prototyping.
know how tricky it is sometimes to get the stuff to work right with humidity and stuff. And now you're gonna make your own blend. It's like you're not gonna have the quality control that a factory will, and it's like it's just gonna be a level of frustration you never expected. And it's gonna be like this has been a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's just cool that they're starting to think down
Right.
that
Oh yeah,
that aisle.
you've seen those videos where people take the 2 liter bottles and they turn it into string and they basically unwind a 2 liter bottle and make thread out of it.
Yeah, well, there's a YouTube guy that makes filament out of it, and then he prints stuff with it, and it looks. I mean, it prints, but it don't look pretty.
Does he use Mountain
Sprite
Dew?
bottles are not.
Sprite
Yeah, I was
bottles,
gonna say
Mountain Dew
Sprite
green,
bottles
neon
they
green.
don't really reprint well. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's
It's
times
fun though.
there's
It's
times to be
addictive.
thrifty and there's times not to be. Yeah. It's
Well,
oh
the
Lordy.
whole 3D printing thing is a lot of fun. It's kind of addictive. You start with a roll of filament, and when you're done, you've created a Terabug. So
Or
it's
a
kind of
pile of
neat,
spaghetti. Or a pile of spaghetti. Right. Uh-huh.
I make
Yeah.
lots of spaghetti.
Melt that down and it'll be some poopy brown color. Something muddy.
Yep. Oh my gosh, the hood is done.
Oh.
Wow. We got to give it a minute. It's still hot.
And you don't
I don't want to.
and you don't have the new
I don't want
printer
to yank
yet.
it.
Yeah, and you don't even have the new printer yet. So how many hours was
I
the
don't
print time for
know.
that?
Uh, 4,
Oh,
4.
that's reasonable.
Yeah. I don't think the new printer is any faster. I just think it has a lot more options. I think it has a lot more ability. I don't know that it's really that much
Uh
faster.
some of the guys were saying that they did reduce print time significantly. Like off a big
Well,
project, like
and,
big projects, taking a couple hours off on big projects.
so you can turn any of the bamboos. They come with 4 speeds. You have
Right.
your normal operating speed, and then they have what they call silent, which is 50% of standard, and then they have standard, and then sport, which is 124%, and then they have what they call ludicrous mode, and ludicrous mode is 166% speed. Um, I will say that the quality does diminish when you start going into ludicrous mode. And if you go into ludicrous mode halfway through, you can tell where it went into ludicrous mode. So it's kind of obvious.
Uh-huh.
But all
Oh,
right,
and I saw Ash finished up his project this week. His
what's he got?
VS410 chassis, but then he did the Phoenix body, and then he did a 3D printed bed insert for it, and then a tailgate, and kind of a hybrid with using the Phoenix and then accessorizing it to get it more scale looking, mirrors and stuff like that.
Oh man, what he just said it. It just did it to me too.
Hello.
It's YouTube keeps popping me out. Here we are. I'm back. Let's see. It's slower. You'll save time on nozzle cleaning and cheap support products. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I heard, that it is more efficient about the nozzle cleaning and prime towers and all that stuff that
Sure.
it does. So I'm really so I had a Maker Gear before the Bamboo, and it was an expensive printer. I think I spent $2,500 but I will tell you this Bamboo, and it gave me a lot of trouble, a lot of grief. It was a 50-50 success rate. The Bamboo has changed that for me. It's been, I mean, almost, I say 80-90% success rate. And I'm doing big, long prints. So,
Uh-huh.
but,
Nice.
oh man.
What are you going to do this weekend? Are you going to drive anything or?
No, because it's supposed to rain.
Oh, your forecast is junk?
So I'm gonna probably work on doing some printing, and I'm gonna work on some prototyping for parts for
Did you do my
some of
interior?
the. I sent you the video of your interior. Your interior's done.
So you shipped it?
No,
Liar.
and no, it's
Okay.
not shipped. I still have your. But
Okay.
but here's the
No,
thing.
because you usually like to
We had
fuck with me
talked.
sometimes and it'll be like shows up in the mailbox. It's like, oh, there it is.
No.
But then I'd
So
have to
I
go to the
honestly, we had talked about the interior for your trail duster, and I showed you the one that I got from Harold, and we had talked
No,
about
I was
it,
talking
and then
about
I
the
showed you
interior
the
for
one
the
that
H10.
I know, but
Oh,
I
gotcha.
also needed to know how many interiors for the H10 did you need, and I was going to see if you wanted me to go ahead and work on the trail duster
Sure.
interior like mine, or if you want the one that I got from Harold.
No, you can print me something so you can keep fine tuning your design.
Okay. I got the one for mine, and I already printed one for another buddy, and so it's pretty locked in. It works great. Very
RC
simple.
Performance Mods coming my way May 20th. I assume that means he's getting the new Bamboo printer since we were talking about that.
Awesome. Your chassis I use for 87. What's Ash talking about on the
Oh, he was giving
87
the
Yoda?
he was giving the he's doing so the Phoenix was a different project. The one he's using I sent him a set of frame rails and stuff that he's using on the hard
Oh,
body, the 80 RC 4-wheel drive 87 Toyota pickup body. And then he's got a Phoenix build. The Phoenix build he was just finishing up.
oh,
And
okay.
now he's working on the hard body. Oh, I forgot to tell you what I found on eBay the other day. Oh
Uh-oh.
boy. Oh boy. That was Will I ever use it? I have no idea. Was it a good deal? Heck yeah, it was. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know when you have those, well, I mean, we've talked about it before. You know when you just buy something because it's cheap and you know it's a good deal? So you're going to have to, I
That's what
know.
I tell myself every time. It's cheap. It's a great deal.
But
Buy two.
so is it up on the screen yet?
No, it's getting there. It's like 7 to 10 second delay.
So this popped up on eBay with a buy it now.
Is it another Origin?
No, not that expensive. No.
Good for you.
We're
Good for you.
getting over the super expensive impulse buys. This was one that was so damn cheap. It's like, I got to get this. So it's still not up.
It is now.
Oh, so I got that sent to me brand new in the package for $30 out the door, shipping everything.
How did you do that?
It was a buy it now that popped up on eBay. And it must have popped up at the top of a search once because the price was knocked down. It says a product you've looked at has been, seller has reduced the price. And I'm looking at the price. I'm like, is that just the case for 20? It was like 20 some dollars, And I'm like, what the heck? How? And I'm trying not to just click on it because it's, thinking it's everything, and I researched the part number, looking at the pictures, and it's like, yeah, that's a complete transmission. Looking at the guy's other sales, and it's like, nope, he's not an RC guy. He just blasted it out, and I'm like, I'll gamble on it for $30 shipped. I mean, ship, tax, everything. It was $30. So
Wow.
and I had thought about getting one just to try it out, and it's like, well, at least I'm getting one for 70% off. Well, more than that because this is $99 without tax and shipping. So yeah,
I'm jealous.
Well, it may end up with you if I don't like it. So,
Well, I'm jealous because that would work good in a couple of my projects.
Well, I was thinking about the Trail Duster.
No, the Trail Duster works great with a VFD.
Okay.
It really pushes that weight forward and down low. It really, man.
Well, then maybe I'll try it on my VS410 Leafer then.
Why? No. You got.
What else am I going to put it in?
A trench knife. You need a trench knife.
You're trying to sell me more projects, and I haven't even touched the two that are ahead of it.
Oh, well. Just think of it for winter. It's a winter project.
I didn't do anything last winter, hardly. I got stalled on everything. Well, everything I wanted to work on was really stalled. My leaf projects didn't come in until the end of winter. H10 Origin didn't come in until late winter. Yeah, everything I was excited to work on didn't come in until late. And everything I had laying around, I just wasn't excited about. Old projects, Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you
Yeah.
too. Do you have any?
Hold on. Hold on. Hey, Ash. Yes, I'm doing a VS410 Leafer with a Toyota extra cab body. I'm gonna bob the bed on the body, VFD twin, and Reefs servo, 2-in-1, and no idea on wheels and tires yet. Sorry, I was answering his questions in the comments.
I mean, because you'll type for some people, but you won't type long responses. I see.
I'm a pecker. I'm not good at pecking.
Oh, that's not what I call you.
Okay. Hold that thought. While you're doing this, I'm gonna pull it out of the printer. Or
okay.
Do you want to see it come out of the printer?
Yeah. Bring it out.
All right, here we go. Open
so those
the door.
of you who haven't done much 3D printing, here's
Ready?
a little bit of the process.
Wait for it.
Yeah, but you got all the trees on it still.
Oh, the sound. I know, but it's the sound. That sound of coming off of the deck is so awesome. It's such a glorious sound. Okay. All right. Now we'll put you right back up here. And Rob will sit down right here. And here it is.
Why does it got a tree on the hood? So do those literally snap off, or do you have to cut them? Oh, they snap? Nice.
If you do it right, they pop right off. They just absolutely just right off. And then the brim comes right off. That's how you know you got all your settings pretty close. Is because everything just kind of pops
but
off.
But doesn't fight you? Yeah. And that was 4 hours,
Then you know everything's good. 4 hours.
Nice.
And it's kind of got an anodized, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of got an anodized. I've
seen that in your pictures. It looks like, in other people's prints too, it has kind of a metally look to it, or a silvery, I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't look like model plastic where it's like, oh, it just looks like plastic. It has a little bit of a brilliance to it, or depth.
And I actually spent a lot of time staring at reds today at the Micro Center trying to decide what color red I wanted. I didn't realize there was so many different reds.
Oh God, yeah. Do they have test samples so you can look at the color, or are you just looking at it on the spool?
So you look at it on the spool. Sometimes you can wander around the store and you'll find little knickknacks that they
Oh,
printed.
sure.
And depending on the brand, the higher end filaments they sell in little bitty baggies, like test baggies. They're like $5 a baggie, so you can go get those, and you can really get a good look at them from
Mm-hmm.
those. And that's what I did on this one. This is one
Sure.
of those more. Your average filament is only about $18 a roll, and that's $18 for a full kilo. Um, Whereas this one, like I said, this one was kind of expensive. It was $35 for a half kilo. So,
Sure.
but it does print like it. You can't see it unless it's in front of you, but it
No, you
prints
can kind
very
of,
smooth and silky.
yes.
It's so nice.
And the color kind of shimmers a little bit. It doesn't have that flat, opaque look like cheap plastic toys have. You can tell they're trying to improve the appearance of it and not have it so.
Well, and even some of the cheap filament has that look too. It has a very dull toy look to it, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know. It's not gonna be long before I have you doing 3D printing too,
Oh lordy.
and then you're gonna be calling me cussing. How do I
Uh,
make this work?
yeah, I don't know. Depends how busy my summer is. If I have work this summer, I'll just summers either fly by or they drag. So we'll see how busy I am this summer.
Well, I hope for your sake you're busy.
Yeah, I need to be. This winter sat around
I
too
know you would
much, and
like to be. Yeah.
yeah, I got tree jobs coming up, so that's nice. At least I got 3 or 4 jobs on the horizon, so that should take me through most of May. That gives me time to find jobs while we're on the fly.
Yep. I don't know. I'm ready for the summer to set in so we can get rid of some of this crazy chaotic weather.
And
Granted, it's going to be hot, but at least it's not chaotic.
that's what I was had that discussion with the Russian the other day. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
She's always about how she's a little bit of a conspiracy when it comes to weather manipulation and stuff like that, but anyway, she's like, "Why is it so crappy? Why is it so cold? Why is it so this?" I'm like, "Dude, it's April in Minnesota. We're lucky we don't have snow on the ground." It's so
Yeah,
typical of,
pick your battles.
well, I mean not to I get why she feels that way, but at the same time, if you've lived here all your life, you realize that any good weather early is a blessing. It's not a trend where it's, oh, spring is going to start 2 months early. No, no. We're getting some intermittent nice days before we're kind of guaranteed nice weather. Mike knows what I'm talking about if he's still listening. But so yeah, she's like, so she thinks once nice weather starts, it just goes nice from here on out. It's like we get snow till the end of May sometimes, and we just
Hmm.
started May. I mean, there's been a lot of springs where we're just sitting on our hands waiting for it to stop raining. And then, it'll just be garbage weather, but no snow on the ground, where it's like that 40, 50-degree weather where it's cool and rainy. And it's just a miserable spring. And then all of a sudden it stops raining and the sun comes out like June. And it's like, oh, now we got summer. Now this is what we look forward to. So we had a mild
Yeah,
winter this year. We had a mild winter this year in terms of snow. So she was a little. And you get a nice, so when we don't have snow on the ground, you get a sunny day, it's going to be 15, 20 degrees warmer than it would be with snow at this time of year.
yeah. Well, around here it goes from
Here, wait a
cold and
second. You got to
yucky.
you got to read this because this was making me snicker the whole time too. Stop saying baggy and kilo or you'll get demonetized. I'm sure that would
I'm sure he's probably right. Okay.
yeah, because
I
I was
will.
because
Yeah.
when you kept saying that, I'm like, oh, that just doesn't sound right. And
I know, and sadly, I'm not even meaning anything
I
suspicious by it.
understand that, and I didn't, and I talked about the virus from 2020 and mentioned it by name, and YouTube hates that too, and it's like, oh my gosh. And
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know about that.
oh yeah, you're not supposed to, yeah, that's still not safe to talk about. Well, I don't know for sure. I know some people are still steering clear of it. Some people I follow, because they'll say, remember the virus that goes by the name that we shall not talk about or something, they just talk about it in obvious ways so you know what they're talking about without saying it. Because
Okay, I didn't know that's why though. I
yeah,
mean, I thought
that's
that was just them being funny, trying not to talk
no,
about the one
no,
that shut us down. Okay,
no. They're trying to
I didn't know.
they're trying to keep their channel from getting strikes or demonetized. And yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm talking about 3D printing parts.
Well, no, you have to find another way to describe it.
I'll just call it a full spool and then
A
half
half
full
spool.
spool.
Yep.
Not a problem.
Just like with
I
firearm
can play
stuff.
with the rules as long as I know the rules.
Right. Firearm stuff too. I mean, they allow firearm
Well,
videos, but firearm videos don't make money. All the firearm groups have
really?
sponsorship. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know
RC
that.
performance mods. Yeah. Call it that thing that will remain nameless from 2020. Exactly. Yep. Uh, yeah.
Okay, it's
You
all
gotta,
done.
you gotta do the dance with YouTube. Nice.
Not bad.
I
I mean, you can
expected,
see the holes.
I expected a silver grill, so it looked metal-like instead of plastic,
Yeah.
and a silver trim ring
John,
around the
I've been
headlight.
disappointing you now for a year. You'll just have to live with it.
Yeah,
Another disappointment.
yeah.
I'll be honest, I was afraid that this red, it's got a little pearl in it, and I was afraid it was going to come out pink.
Sure. Yeah, reds are
So
tricky. From
they are.
my painting days, red is super expensive for paint because they use garnet. It's one of the few colors that they basically use minerals for the colors. It's to get the richest colors, they use garnet. A lot of the paints they can
Oh
use
wow.
synthetics now. So the best
Mm-hmm.
reds, yeah, the best reds are 2 to 3 times more than your average color. And that's because of garnet. That's when you see the really
Okay,
deep
this is
red.
definitely not sandable.
Yeah, it looks glossy. It looks slick.
Well, when you sand some of these, they get a white. They almost turn kind of white. I don't know if you can see it,
No,
but it turns a little white. I always test them. I test them on the
right,
backside that way, just to see in case I get something. Do I need to? Is it worth risking the part to try to fix it, or just leave it alone? And so I test the back of them. If it's not gonna sand well, then I don't mess with it.
right.
So
So would you just put filler
cool.
primer, put filler primer on it versus sanding it, and then sand the filler primer?
Uh, man, we're gonna get into a um, long
You don't
story
have
there.
to make it a long story.
I'm bad at that. Okay, so if you're gonna print something and you want to make it a shiny glass finish, the best way is to use that UV resin, that real thin, lightweight UV resin. Paint it with the resin and let it cure, and then sand the resin, and then paint. Prime it and paint it. Something of this quality, the print quality is good enough on this one that yeah, you could use a 3 or 4 good heavy coats of filler primer and then paint it, and it would paint up pretty nice. So
So RC Performance Mods, he goes, that is the Porigen hood. Is that Knights Customs?
yes,
So that's
no,
oh, whose file is that one?
Jer- Jersey. I think it's Jersey Scalar. Does
Yes.
that sound right?
Yeah, Jersey
Okay, I
Scalar
wasn't sure.
Design, maybe? Yeah, something like that. Jersey Scaler.
That's
Yeah.
whose name is on the file that I bought. I
Right.
actually bought this file and I bought the Terabug file. So I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm just doing for myself. I'm not selling these. These are, I'm not licensed to sell these, so I'm not going to sell these. I'm just using them for myself. So
Mike wants to see a tube chassis that you built because I don't build them.
I'm trying to think here. A
No,
tube? Well, okay.
Mike knows that I only buy tube chassis. I've never built one yet. I don't think I ever will. I have the tools and the
Well,
skills to do it.
Mike.
I just don't have the interest to build a tuber.
Well, tell Mike if he would go follow me on YouTube, he could see the cage that I built for my Origin.
I think Mike is trying to help the conversation more than anything. He knows enough about me to answer that question on his own. I think Mike's being helpful. Mike's trying to help the conversation, I think.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome in, dude, anytime.
What did you do to your camera?
I I don't know. It like all of a sudden it went back to the okay, that is so weird. What the heck did my thing there it is. Oh, am I back?
Oh, just a sec. I took you off since you were gone.
Oh. Jersey Scaler. Yes, that's the name of the files.
For the Porigen hood.
Mm-hmm.
No, Mike. Mike knows that I haven't built any tube chassis, but Rob has built some cages. I haven't seen him build a complete chassis, but he's built some cages to add on to projects like stuff without roofs and stuff like that.
Well, I did the topless Origin.
Right, a cage. Right. Yep.
It was I just wanted to
What
say I
about
did
you?
it.
What about
That's the
you,
only
Mike?
reason I did it.
What about you, Mike? Have you built a tube buggy yet? Now let's put him on the spot. Huh, Mike? Huh? But like, Josh.
Now remember, you live near him.
Josh is doing those build-alongs where you,
Yes.
and they do every week and do part of the project and that kind of stuff. And you buy, I think you can buy everything from Send Cut Send, and that'd be a pretty, I'd say, an easier way to do it. That's for sure.
That send cut send, I'm dying to kind of learn how to do that. I haven't tried it yet.
I have. They made me some Delrin skids that worked out. Mike, you can come over and use my welder if you want to use it. You can burn up metal to your heart's content.
Aw, look at you. You are sweet. Okay.
I don't.
Clone.
Yeah. And I don't. Mike, I'm not. I forgot, Mike. Do you have any welding experience? I forgot how much welding you've done, if any. Because TIG welding is. I mean, all types of welding are different. It's not, people say wire feed's the easiest, but then it's also the one that always looks like crap, and people say it's easy. So it's like,
I thought stick was supposed to be the easiest and look the worst.
No,
really,
stick is hard. Stick's hard to make it look right and do it right, and I love it because it makes really strong repairs, and they make all sorts of different welding rods, so it'll stick dirty, nasty, like field repair work for equipment. Oh, it's wonderful. And that's what they use on pipelines. All the underground pipelines, that's all stick welded. They don't.
Well,
it's one of the better welds, but it's hard to do it right.
Quick story. We were up in the sand dunes, and one of my buddies folded a A-arm on the front of his side-by-side, and I watched a oil field welder go over, get a rusty bent T-post, take his grinder, cut it, use 2 hose clamps to hold it all together, and then burned it in.
Yep.
And that metal was on the A-arm was as thin as a Coke can, and that guy rode the rest of the weekend on that arm. I was like,
oh, yeah.
wow. That was nuts. Oh man. I'm sitting here working
RC
on some
Performance Mods. UC Fab is my next to be shipped to Canuckland as soon as the boys settle the tariff deal. Moon buggy he's getting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't have any buggy stuff coming up. I have my RC Speedy. I don't hardly drive it. It's heavy. So initially, that was back when I thought, weight was everything for traction, but it's like you get on an incline, all that weight, you're fighting gravity then, So my RC Speedy wasn't built very conscious of the weight, so it's kind of a chunk. It's the heaviest thing I have. And
did you ever weigh it?
I did, but I don't remember what it is. I remember that all my Vanquish rigs are all like 6 pounds. I mean, they're all within an ounce of each other, and not by plan, not by design. It's funny. I weighed them one day, and it's like, holy crap, they're all within an ounce of each other. My VS410, my VRD Carbon, my Optic, all of them were within an ounce of each other. And it was 6 pounds, 14 ounces, or 11 ounces, or whatever it was. I don't remember. But I know that RC Speedy is pushing 8 pounds or something like that, or well over 7, It's a fat girl. It needs to be lightened up because like I've told you before, here we've got such glossy surfaces, the rocks are polished and stuff. Think about going up a street that's covered in ice. You don't want to be heavy, you're going to be fighting gravity all the time. And that's kind of the problem I have with that rig. It needs to be lightened up quite a bit. Because it's just chunky. Plus, it makes such a god awful noise when it hits the ground. Because it's all metal, it's bang, and it's like, oh, that's gonna snap a weld one of these times. It's just gonna pop a corner out. Mike, I do have a wire feed, but I would call me a grinder, not a welder. Yes,
I have a wire feed too, but it uses a flux wire.
I've got a little bit of every kind of welder. I've got a big 10,000 watt portable welder. And then I've got a wire feed attachment. I think I can weld over 1 inch plate. 1 inch. Yes.
Jesus.
That uses
big amps.
Yeah. And it's got a suitcase where you put the spool in so you can bring it kind of close, and then you can use really long leads off the generator. So like doing like a bridge repair or something where you're up high or something, or you put the suitcase in a man lift and then have the leads go down to the ground to the generator type thing. So you don't have, a 50-foot wire feed lead. You only have your typical, 15-foot lead or whatever it is. Yeah. I've got a suitcase for that. That'll do. Yeah. That'll put bridge plate together. But then I've got a nice wire feed, a smaller Miller. That thing is amazing. Miller makes this little suitcase one. It's supposed to be like a 3-in-1 tool, and it works really well. It's a really nice, it's an inverter machine. It's a newer machine. And inverter machines don't have transformers anymore. So now they're able to make these really compact welders. And this thing will run off a 110 or 220, and you can stick weld with it. You can TIG weld with it, DC, but not AC. And it's got a really nice wire feed in it. And it's just a great wire feed. The other stick welding and the TIG welding is just kind of a novelty to sell it, I feel like, but it's a great little wire feed machine. And that thing I can throw in the back of my truck and bring it anywhere, because that thing comes in a little suitcase also. It comes in like a Pelican case, and it's built into the Pelican case. And so you can put a small gas bottle in your truck, and you can be doing some great welds on site. And that's what I used it for. And then after I used that long enough, I got rid of my big wire feed. It's like, there's no reason to have these big transformer machines anymore. Nathan Worth, what's your go-to for foams or anti-foams? We got into that discussion last time we were out. I wish Dino was here. Dino, Mike, do you remember what anti-foams Dino was using? Because we talked about him a little bit, and he was so sold out. No, they weren't. They weren't 3D prints. They were foams. They were a little bit different design. Oh my god! Oh, I wish I could remember what they were called. But yeah, Nathan, I've used Squid RCs and I've used Proline foams. I still at this point don't have a go-to. I don't like the Prolines because it seems like the foam goes to crap pretty quick and gets wasted, and all of a sudden the tires look like they're low on air because the foam just gets overused quickly, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Mike doesn't remember
Do you
either.
think that it matters tire brand for foam brand? Meaning, would you use like Proline tires with Proline foam? Because like
No.
My Rock Beast, I use that. I think it's C Block medium foams in my Rock Beast because the Rock Beast has got such a stiff sidewall anyway. You don't need a dual stage foam.
Yeah,
So
Nathan says he's using the Endura. Kind of dig them. They're silicone. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a little bit before, and it's like the tire setup is really, really dependent on where you're driving it. Because I've noticed that with watching other people's videos around the country, everybody's using, I think, what I think is setups that are more typical for where they live. Because I really see people driving on different terrains all the time. Well, not necessarily different terrain, but different surfaces as far as how much traction they have. Like I've said on here many times, the stuff we drive on is very polished. I mean, it's not shiny polish, but I mean, it's really smooth. And like some of the guys out west, like West Desert Wheeler, and seeing his videos out in Utah and stuff like that, they definitely have a grippier surface that's like some type of sandstone or something. We're driving a much harder rock that's polished by the glaciers. You know, we had the ice age come through here at some point in history, you know, and our rocks are extremely slick. And so we fight with the tire compounds, and then we fight with trying to figure out the combination with the tire that we like, and whether it be a foam or an insert that's 3D printed or whatever. And the last time we were out, Mike and a few of the other actually everybody else was running trenchers except for me, and I was running the Mickey Thompson, the X or whatever it's called, the one with the big lugs on it, and in the stickier compound in the Proline Predator compound, and they were running circles around me in some areas, and I was getting frustrated because my truck wasn't hooking up, and I'm like, man, what did I really made a bad choice today. Then we got to another spot, they were struggling, and I was just walking away from them. So where we drive, it's really fun. It's got a lot of different challenges, but at this time, we really don't have a one tire fits all or a one, you know, a recipe that works for everywhere there. So it's really a lot of trial and error. I did a video just testing tires one day, and I just couldn't get consistent differences where it's like, yeah, this one's better. It's just like everything's slightly different. So where we're at, it's really a crapshoot. I don't
yeah,
know.
we have that very
Are you using
sticky rock here.
so you can get away with softer compounds, or are you running firmer stuff?
So here on all my leaf trucks, I run basically a medium foam and a soft compound tire. And my tires work best when they're flat looking, like, aired way down
Right,
looking,
right,
when,
and
when they're
that's
pooched.
yeah, and the right and the Mickey Thompson things I was running, the Pro lines. I had Proline foams, and the Proline foams are just wasted. So they had a big footprint, you know, it looked like they were aired down type thing. And like I said, certain circumstances it worked great, other conditions it didn't, and then the trenchers worked really well. So it's like I really want one truck just to run, but I definitely want to play around with it more and get something more consistent. But
I don't know about the newer anti-foams or not your everyday foams, but I've got some older ones that were printed on out of TPU, and they have a very firm sidewall feel, but they're very soft on the tread squish. So
right.
I haven't really, I don't know how they're just they're weird. I guess is the best way to put it. So I haven't really explored them enough to really speak about are they good or bad.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even watch tire reviews anymore because it's like because everybody that does them isn't doing it on the surfaces we drive on, so it's like I just don't care. It's like so. I mean, as much as I
I
like West,
typically ask the guys around me.
yeah, I mean, as much as I like West Desert Wheeler, the way he reviews stuff, for example, it's like it's all on surfaces that are nothing like here. It's like it doesn't apply. I mean, because some places call a tire garbage, but yet it works somewhere else. So I mean, it's like everything has its place. So it's hard to make one sweeping comment with tires in any regard that says, "Well, this will work for every situation." Like we were talking the other day with my oval car from Carpet Racing, the guy that made the chassis. He gave me a setup for it where I had a different tire compound in every corner of the car. So I had to buy all these different tires just to do this setup. And it's like, man, I'm never going to drive good enough to even notice the difference. So,
No.
yeah, tire reviews. I did one tire review video. Probably never do it again because it's like, it just doesn't apply to anything. It applies to us and our little world and our little situation. And that's it.
Okay, well I got one for you. Do you vent your tires?
No, I vent to you.
Hmm, okay.
I haven't. Uh-uh.
Really?
I,
See, here you have to.
well, see, a lot of the guys do vent them here. I just don't know. I mean, when some of my wheels are vented, so you don't have to. So I guess some of them are vented, but I don't know. It seems like if the tire is too soft and flat, then it has like a tearing action. You know what I mean? Where like it's just kind of giving away. So when it's
Hmm.
more firm and rounded, and then it has decent lugs, it seems like it can grab those hard edges, which aren't very forgiving when it's a flat surface. Um, but when it catches a jagged edge, then at least it won't give away and it'll pull itself up. You know what I mean? So kind of like climbing a ladder type thing. So,
I got something the other day, and I don't know if I sent you a picture of him. The guy literally took a hole punch for paper,
uh-huh.
and he put 4 holes in every sidewall of every tire.
Oy
Not
vey.
even on the tread. He did it on the sidewall. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Uh
I don't know. I don't like them. I'm gonna try I've got a set mounted up. I was gonna try them this weekend if I could get out
oh, I
and do
wanted
any
to touch on
crawling.
this again, Nathan. Depends on weight also. And that's what I was talking about earlier with my RC Speedy. It's like my VRD Carbon is probably my most capable rig, that just does more than anything else without thinking about it, putting a lot of effort into it. And it's also one of the lightest rigs. And so that's when I really started believing in it's like now, I mean, you think about the weight and putting more traction to the ground, but eventually when you start doing steep inclines and stuff, all that weight just works against you. You got to find that fine balance where I think
Yeah,
it's,
now you got to pull it up there with you.
yeah, I think it's just more important to have a front end bias than it is to have it heavy, as light as possible, because you can only get these things so light anyways, but have a front bias so it doesn't want to flip over backwards.
Do you play with the weight location on yours? Like, do you try to go 60/40? Do you try to go?
I've never weighed them to see how much the balance is off or good or bad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I've just tried to make sure it's more front end heavy so it doesn't want to roll over. Because we do some really
I'll
we
be
do a lot of steep incline stuff here. We have a lot of stuff for like you're kind of
y-
climbing up a table or a stair.
yeah. I use the airplane, the CG. Like when we're doing an airplane, we measure how far back to so that the nose of the airplane is got more weight on it. So I've been CGing, I guess you could say, crawlers just to make sure that
Sure.
the weight is up front.
Yeah,
You
maybe if
know,
I would maybe if I would have stuck with no prep, I would have had a scale by now, but I gave up on no prep
God.
because that was a setup nightmare. That was a rabbit hole of just tuning. That's definitely the
Man, those
hobby.
guys get crazy about some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely for the guys that love to tinker in the off time, just work on
What
setup and
you
then
call them? What, rivet counters?
no, that's rivet counters are for guys that are doing detail modeling. That's for oh, see that one's got
Oh,
3 bolts on that cover and the original one had 2 bolts, that kind of stuff.
well, I can tell you some of the engineering and some of the thought that some of these guys put into these no prep cars just to go out and race them on a city street is like, wow, that's a lot of time and energy. I'll see guys
Oh,
in some of the local groups talking about starting prep and getting cars ready on Tuesday for a race on Thursday.
Nathan's running 10 pounds. Holy cripes, that's a heavy rig.
Wow. Well, I mean, I
Let
bet you
me
my Duster's probably that too.
well, I gotta know now. I got my shipping scale here. And I've got that one Origin I had for sale. So I got a complete rig sitting here.
You could weigh your new H10 Origin. Oh, wait, it's not there.
Yeah, it's at the sign shop. Yeah. Oh my god, I have to set this upside down on the roof, ain't I? It's the only way it's gonna fit on the
Well,
scale.
that just lowered its value. Now it's only worth 29.30.
So a VS410 Origin with electronics is 7 pounds 1 ounce. So yeah, like I was saying, let me get this out of the way.
Do you want me to go weigh a Trail Duster?
Well, if you like to, yeah. So
Okay.
the standard
Oh.
VS410 Origin is about 7 pounds 1 ounce, and I know my trail rigs. I think I remember they were 6 pounds something, high sixes, 6'11", 6'12", whatever, somewhere in there. So yeah, Nathan, 10 pounds. Holy smokes! That's why I wanted to weigh mine just to make sure I wasn't talking out on my butt or anything. That was really, giving the actual weight because yeah, 10 pounds. Holy smokes! For a 10 scale, that's a lot of weight. That is a lot of weight.
Now,
But yeah,
I know a lot of a lot of people will tell you they're biased front to back, but what about the up and down bias? Is there any way to weigh that?
I don't know how you would measure on that axis. Oh,
All right,
that's
I'm
true.
centering.
Battery. I forgot there's no battery in my rig. Yeah, Nathan, I forgot about that. He says that's with
Okay,
battery
the
and
Trail
tires.
Duster weighs 9.3 pounds, no battery.
Oh, that's kind of chunky too.
Yeah, she's a
I run little batteries, so I'm guessing my rigs are still under 7 pounds with the battery. Because
all right. And
I run those little, what, 800 milliamp or 1,000 milliamp, whatever.
okay, this is a rooster. It weighs 7.3. So
Okay,
you're
I think that's more average. Well, that's without a battery though, right?
yeah, no battery. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna weigh my Terabug.
RC
This
Performance
is
Mods.
fun.
Those 10-pounders sound awesome, tumbling down the hill and go further. Yeah. CRC Performance,
Okay,
that
my
was,
Terabug weighs 6.
yeah, that's because it's all plastic.
And it has no gear in it. No motor, no
Oh,
ESC,
true.
no servo, no battery. So it's gonna be an 8-pounder.
RC Performance Mods is talking about the 10-pounders. And like, yeah, I was talking about that a little earlier with my RC Speedy because that's a chunky one. That's probably 8 or 9 pounds or something like that. And when I hear that thing fall off a ledge, I have to go look at it right away and see if there's a weld popped because it's like that thing hits so hard. Because where we drive, a lot of times they can fall off a 3-foot drop. We're going
Yeah.
on the edges of stuff because that's the only place it's fun to drive. We're not driving in those areas just to like, oh, let's see if it falls off or not. It's because, well, no, that's actually the fun spots to drive. Otherwise, believe me, I would drive nicer rigs where we drive if it didn't have those 3-foot drops. Because my stuff takes a lot of hits. Because the stuff I drive, they are by no means shelf queens, and that's why I hardly ever show them on any of my videos unless it's a driving video. Because the ones I drive, they just get beat to heck. I mean, the bodies look like crap in one season. I maybe get one season out of a body, and that's it. And so my drivers, they're tough. They're beat up. They get a lot of use. I've got a rotation of I got a VS410 that started out as an Origin that's kind of a hybrid Origin, and then I've got a Phoenix, and then I've got H10 Optic, and then I've got my VRD Carbon, and then I got a SCX10 2, and those are the ones that get driven all the time. And when you see all these builds or builds, assemblies, whatever, these really highly polished ones I do, yeah, they're kind of shelf queens for fun, and the reason I don't take them where I drive them is because they look like garbage really quick. So it's hard to take something really pretty and just know it's going to look like garbage really quick. So I'll paint up a fresh body every year for most of my stuff and get one season out of it and then do it again next year.
Cost of business.
Mm-hmm. RC Performance Mods. What's he got?
Wow.
10-foot drop. Land on its wheels. Bought a lottery ticket. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's luck.
Yeah. And with my RC Speedy, it has ripped rod ends out of the links and stuff and egged them out. And because it's such a heavy rig, like you with your Gravedigger, that's 80 pounds. Stuff like that crashes. Anything that's heavier and it crashes hard is going to make damage. So these lighter rigs, 6 pounds and stuff, it's hard to break them, especially you're running plastic axles because those plastic is pretty resilient, especially with the lighter weights.
And flexible. Yeah.
Right. You're not going to break a plastic axle most of the time. Nathan again. What's he got? Just got an optic. Thought it was a portal before I built it. Now I'm kind of bummed, but it still climbs all right. Yeah, Nathan, I run both. I really don't even have a preference between straight and portal anymore. I don't even think about that part of the rig anymore when I pick a rig to go drive for the day because I kind of have like an even split of both, and I don't even think about I don't even choose them based on portal or straight axle anymore. I just base it on what the rig is overall. Like, just feel like driving that one type thing. So I don't really, at least I don't personally feel a huge difference between them.
I don't have but a couple rigs that are
Portals.
portal anymore.
Yeah, because you built that
I really
Ultra.
like straight.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
my
that's
only portal, well, no, my VRD is portal, of course, my VRD Carbon, and then my RC Speedy is portal. I think that's it. And then the other 2 or 3
well
are straight
my
axles.
yeah, my trench knife is portal, but it's not really portal. My Traxxas is portal, and I've got a TFL Bronco with the fiberglass body, and it's got portals. But other than that, everything else I have, I think, is straight axle.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
Yeah.
that trench knife I was
Well,
telling you about.
hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. I'll put you. There we go. Now you got the full screen. So go over the other way, back up a little bit, back up, back up, back up. There you go. So
Okay,
you
so as
got
you can
portals.
see,
So you got the portals on that.
you can see that the leaves go under the axle, so it gets the truck down real nice and low, but still gets a lot of really. I'm trying to see if we can get a. Well, there's not a with no wheels on it. It's got good flex. I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
leaf springs and stock leaves at that. So it's pretty cool.
And
I'm
you're
really
doing it.
excited. It's
And
got
you're
one of
doing
my
it.
skids in it.
And you're doing the VFD in that one too.
I'm gonna do a VFD with a stubby kit. This gonna be the first stubby I've ever done.
Okay.
Have you looked at the stubby kit? You know what that entails?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna do it for the servo mount. Is pretty cool, and the shortening the transmission is gonna help me get clearance for the front drive shaft. So I was like, screw it. That's the way we'll go.
Other than 10-3
So
portals, I carried my base camp out early and then bought the Trio CNC housings. Yeah. What did Nathan say? Nathan liked your chassis.
I was actually thinking about putting Capra axles on this trench knife, but I didn't realize how much wider the
Oh, Capras? Yeah.
Capra. Oh my God,
That's
they
like a
are
next.
really, really wide.
Yeah, that's like a scale or whatever, ninth scale. It's like a scale size up or whatever. Yeah, it's.
Well, they call it a 10 scale buggy, but man,
Well, I was gonna say, and even on my, I think on my Optic and my RC Speedy, I ran like 600 hubs on there just to, because I thought, well, it's a buggy. It doesn't really need to look like anything. I mean, it's not going to make it look different by having it stick out further or whatever, as far as appearance wise. So I tried to make those more stable by making them wider, but I haven't had a good time with my RC Speedy too much. It's just a little too heavy. The Optic, I'm kind of hot and cold on that just because I'm not a big buggy guy. I'm still tinkering with it and trying to get it to work a little better for the way I want it. I did shorten up the rear length, so now it's to the same wheelbase of like a VS410, because the Optic, I think, is 13-inch wheelbase, and then a VS410 is 12. Is it an actual inch, or I think when you shorten up the lengths on the Optic, it brings it an inch shorter, like a whole inch shorter in the rear.
so okay, so they come over 13 inches,
Yeah, like
right?
13.3 or something. Yeah, and I
Okay.
think a
So
VS410 is like 12.3. I think it's like you drop an inch.
okay, so I actually shortened my Terabug because I didn't like how it looked. It just looked weird being that long.
I noticed
I
right
didn't
away.
like it.
I noticed right away with my Optic when I got it. It drove long. You could tell the wheelbase was longer. And it's only an inch, but it's like, yeah, I could tell right away. It's like it drove long. It was harder
Hmm.
to make turns. It wasn't turning as sharp. And it's like, of course, then if you put rear steer in it, that kind of it doesn't really matter then the wheelbase nearly as much. And a lot of people are putting rear steer in them, which I never did that to mine. I just shortened the rear, and like I said, I'm not super in love with my Optics, so it's more of just to have one to drive it. And so I haven't stuck a lot into it other than just tweaking it the way it is. I don't have any plans to put four-wheel steering or nothing like that. But shortening the lengths did make a difference. Now at least it turns similar to my VS410s as far as how tight of a circle, you know.
Hmm.
And I think I'm still running a standard VFD in it, so it doesn't have dig or anything either. It doesn't have overdrive. I think what I really want to try to do with my Optic is put the overdrive in the front and give it the, the 30% overdrive or 20, whatever it is that you get like in a VRD Carbon, and do that gearing. Cause I really like the front end overdriven. So it pulls that. I feel really helps us out a lot here.
What? How do you guys use a lot of overdrive when y'all crawl, or do you?
That's what I was just talking about. I prefer it. My VRD Carbon, cause I think that one's standard because it has overdrive gears in the transmission, which adds 20 some percent to the front.
I know, but do you stay in your overdrive? Like,
Well, no,
would
no, no.
you?
That's my point. VFDs, it's a standard VFD. It's not a twin. So it's not select. It's
Oh,
not
oh, I was
selectable.
sorry. I wasn't. I missed that. Okay,
It's
sorry.
overdriven all the time, and I'm starting to like that setup more than, because your standard VFD is like, was it overdriven in the front like 6% or something, just slightly. And they even talked about that the other day on their live stream. They talked about how they did try it 1-to-1, balance, and they
Hmm.
just liked it slightly overdriven. So they did that, whatever it's standard now, 6% or whatever it is. So that's usually what most of their rigs are, is like 6%, slightly overdriven, unless it has a twin, or if it's like the VRD Carbon where it has overdrive in the transmission. So you can add those 20% gears, I think it is. And
I got a bug the other day from a guy. I've had it for a couple months, but
what do you mean a
I
bug?
got
A
it.
bug what?
We're not supposed to talk. No. Trying to think what chassis. I don't even remember what chassis it is, but it's just got a Volkswagen, a Tamiya Sand Scorcher body on it.
Gotcha.
But he had put underdrive gears in the rear axle,
Yep. Yep.
overdrive gears in the front axle,
Sure.
and then I think the transfer case, the T case, I think it had. I want to say it had overdrive also. It was like 30 something percent, 35% overdriven in the front. It was actually hard to drive for me. So,
See,
but
yeah, I'm getting used to that now here where we drive. Like I said, the VR, I'll look it up. Or do you have it up, the VRD Carbon?
not on me.
Okay. I'll pull it up. Um, I really
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could take the VFD and make it overdriven. The single. I didn't know you
Yes.
could overdrive that.
Yes, there's a gear set. It's I just recommended it to a guy the other day that asked a question on one of my videos. I even looked up the part number and all that crud.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes total sense. I just
So the VRD
it didn't
Carbon,
dawn on me.
they claim it's 30%, 37% overdrive.
Wow.
Yeah, I like driving it that way. I'm actually used to it. I Because we do so much up and over type stuff. We're not really doing trail riding. We're always climbing. And so it's just nice to have that front bias where it's just pulling harder in the front. It seems like it keeps it
And,
more straight line and more true. And I think it helps
and
keep
I
pull the
think
front
that
end in.
goes to your. I think that goes to your type of terrain too. Like you said, the slick. I
Yeah.
think the overdrive really kind of that. I think because down here we don't. It's not uncommon for guys to have a VFD twin and have overdrive locked out and where they're only using the dig feature.
Yeah. Mike said he's got 20% in his optic. Mike, is that the first rig you've had with the really big overdrive difference between front and rear? Because I know my VRD, that's the first one for me to have, the 37%. And I shouldn't say that. I know, Mike, you got the Phoenix with a VFD twin, but is this your first rig where it's locked in all the time? I guess is my question. Because I'm starting to like that. It's, I don't even play with it anymore. Uh,
You see RC Performance Mods, that OD3. I've heard a lot of good things about that transmission.
which transmission is that? That's not the one I just
That's
bought, is it?
the OD3. No, you bought the Reefs.
Oh, they called it XPT3. Oh, OD. Is that
I
the
think
new
it's
one?
the same.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that
I
that
think it's very very similar to the Reefs.
with a deluxe skid? It drops the weight. Uh huh. I can hear it. Did you start another print?
Who, me?
Yes, you can hear it.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
No, it's not
I
that
just
bad.
figured I go. I was trying to get the door
I
panels
hear it in
done
my head.
tonight
I
before I
hear
go
it
to
in my
bed.
headphones. If people are watching on their phone aren't going to hear it. No way.
Oh, okay.
It's really
Hey,
subtle.
hey, Tool Time, man. I have a thing for Volkswagens. I love bugs. So yes, Sand Scorcher rocks. I have a couple of them.
Oh lordy, what are you printing now?
The door panels for the Porigen in red.
I still need some VS410 door panels.
I didn't know I was supposed to do VS410 door panels.
I know. Mike, my cheap carbon has 25% and my four-wheel steel Capra has 20%.
Which do
Yeah.
you like better, Mike? Your Capra or your Carbon? That's a good question.
Yeah, I like the overdrive now.
This is for Tool Time.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's a full chassis, and it uses a Sand Scorcher body.
Whose chassis
That's
is
just
that?
for Tool.
Is that the Speedy chassis?
No, LX, the same guy that
Oh, the guy
makes
that makes
those
the shocks.
crazy shocks. Yep.
Oh, you paid a lot of money for that, didn't you? Tammy.
Uh,
Tammy.
actually, she knows what I spent on that one. She saw that one. and and how ironic, how funny is it? The first time I went out to crawl it, like really crawl it, it did the cartwheel down the hill.
Uh, how much does that one weigh?
uh, Probably about eight,
Uh-huh.
7 or 8, yeah, somewhere in the 7, 8 range. It's heavy, but it's also really, really short. So it'll turn around on itself. That is the one thing about that little crawler. If we're going somewhere and I know it's going to be tight, that is the one I grab every time because it gets up and around stuff so good. Oh, it's so much fun
Uh-huh.
to drive.
Oh lordy. Oh, bananas. I gotta get my
Got a
7.
spare time hobby rig on the way also. Uh, Not spending the money. Oh, at deluxe axles for it and motor from deluxe. Not spending the money on the. Okay,
UTB
that
18.
U8.
UTB
Yeah, those are
18.
actually those are pretty cool. I've seen a lot of guys doing some really cool stuff with those.
Uh-huh.
Look what he said.
Yeah, I get that. I'll, I'll tell you this much. I have much more cool stuff now than I did when I was married. And I don't regret not being married right now. So
Well, me and my wife are high school sweethearts. She's been with me so long, she can't be without me. She's stuck.
I thought that too. Anyways, uh,
Oh God.
hey, you gotta remember, I got married in 1991. I graduated in 1990. We went to prom twice. We went to junior and
I
senior
went to
prom.
her prom. She never went to my prom. And
Well,
then yeah, we got married in 95.
Mike says his Capra is the build he did over the winter. I think it'll be one of my favorite. I like all my rigs. They're all different driving experiences. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
I
I think
I like the Capras.
the only thing I carry from vehicle to vehicle is probably the servo and the motor, but otherwise everything else is kind of experiment. Definitely makes them more interesting to drive.
Yep.
Although Mike
Now,
was
has there ever?
Mike loves TRX4 shocks, so that's his winning combination for shocks that don't leak.
Yeah. Um, have you ever bought a rig and hated it?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I didn't pay anything
Like,
for. I didn't pay anything for you. Let's see. Um,
well, then I don't count. You didn't buy me.
that's some crazy glue. I think he's referring to your marriage. RC Performance Mods. He says that's some crazy glue. Like let's see. Let's think of RCs that I just never drove again. Like drove it once or twice. I don't know, man, because I'm not one to get rid of shit, and I usually do a lot
I
of
know. That's
research.
why I asked it the way I
And I
did.
usually do a lot of research before I buy them. I don't just buy stuff spur of the moment usually. So I don't trying to think if I got a regret that I bought as an RC. Oh man, probably the only regret was buying a radio controlled airplane that I never dealt with and finished it type thing. I mean, that's still sitting down in the hobby room, and that's been in that room since like 1990. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, 1990. I think I bought it while I was in tech school because one of my
Oh wow.
class, because one of the guys that's going to tech school flew and he was trying to talk me into getting into it. That's a good example. Thanks, Mike. That jogs the memory. No prep. Yeah, there's some cars I wish I never would have bought. Yes. I never, yes, there we go. Perfect example, Mike. That's something I never stuck with long enough to figure it out. Lost my interest before it ever turned into anything fun for me. Because the crowd here was just kind of over competitive, toxic, and it was just not welcoming, not fun for new people or people new, that kind of thing. Just not very conducive, very fun.
Trying to think if there's any. I can't think of anything that I've only played with once.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, I remember buying pan cars, but what I didn't
Yeah, I
like
didn't
about
really.
but what I didn't like about them was I wasn't talented enough to drive with the people that were good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
It probably,
So it's not really the car's fault.
yeah, it wasn't the car. Yeah, that's the same way. That was my experience with buggies too. It's like, yeah, I'm not in the same arena for talent as the guys that raced buggies with locally.
Well, mine. I just thought of what mine was.
Yeah.
Racing drones.
Ooh.
I bought one. I bought one of those Vortex racing drones that you used to be able to buy, and they came out of the box ready to go, and it was. I never vomited so fast in my life. There's something about FPV that just doesn't work, and I put on the goggles. I I could fly line of sight, no problem. So they were out racing around the trees. So I decided to go try it, and I borrowed some goggles. I put them on. I took off. I flew out. I made it around one tree before I had to crash, take the goggles off, and puke. It just almost instantly made me motion sick. It was horrible.
Yeah,
Ugh.
they had racing here. So we had what was called the Metrodome, which was the stadium for Minnesota Vikings and the Minnesota Twins, our professional teams, baseball and football teams. And
Hmm.
I remember they had racing in there, I think, because they built a new stadium and they tore that one down. And I think towards the end of that life, they were using that stadium for anybody that would come in there and pay some money type thing. And I think they were racing drones in there, like in the hallways and stuff. So that'd be kind
Do
of
y'all have
cool.
Nebraska furniture up there?
What? Obviously, no, then. Yeah, no.
Okay. We have this giant superstore called Nebraska Furniture Mart,
Every furniture
and
store is a giant warehouse. Yeah.
well, this is like, I mean,
Oh, I know. We got giant
epic
warehouse.
size.
We used to have one called Levitt's. They were, I don't know if they
Yeah.
were a national chain, maybe Levitt's Furniture. Yeah, and they had these giant warehouses. I mean, these
Well,
giant racks where it's like pull a couch off. It's like holy Christ, 4-story building, you know.
yeah. So they had a parking garage that they built because they expected to be so busy all the time. Well, 3 floors of the parking garage didn't get used, and so they started racing those drones over there in the parking garage.
You know what would be so cool for racing drones in? An IKEA store.
Ooh. Yeah, because you got to go one way.
But imagine all the junk you'd have to navigate around. That
Well,
would
and
be
that was the thing.
that'd be
I
fun
heard
because you
them
could
when they were over there. I heard them when they were at Nebraska racing one time. We were there shopping, and you heard one hit a concrete pillar, and that sound just isn't right. And it's just a horrible sound. Oh
okay,
man,
you're making Ash sick. I guess
I'm sorry, Ash.
Ash wouldn't do too well with that either. Oh, I was just thinking with all the junk
Oh
inside of an IKEA store, it'd be good for carnage, you know, crashing into stuff and I don't know.
yeah, I even tried buying the little bitty, the little one that Blade made, the little FPV one that Blade made. That was they called it Whoop Racing, and it was basically miniature racing drones that you were supposed to be able to race around with your buddies inside the house. So that
Sure.
didn't go well either.
Ugh.
But oh
Uh-huh.
man, well,
Yeah,
we are getting
yeah,
we're knocking another one out.
my butt's sore again. 2 hours is a long time to sit in one spot.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yet I can drive cross country, gas tank to gas tank, but I don't know, sitting at a desk, that's tough.
it is.
That's why I don't have a desk job.
Me too. I'm not smart enough for a desk job.
Well, sometimes you got to be dumb to have a desk job too. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah. Well,
Could be.
neither one of us would be employees at this point in our life.
No. Nope.
Although I
Damn
was
sure
the
not.
guy that I plow snow for, I went and got the last paycheck for plowing, and he's like, "I don't have anybody with a CDL. Should I get him trained?" And I'm like, "Because the CDL now you have to take classes. You can't just do it the old way. Or if you had
Oh wow.
seat time and a permit, you have to have formal education now to get your CDL. And in our state, the cheapest class is $6,000. So imagine spending that on an employee and then he quits. You know what I mean? So he's like, I need a CDL driver. He goes, and I'm the only one that's got a CDL and he's got a crew. And I'm like, what about your other supervisor, your other foreman, And he's like, nope, he doesn't have it either. And I'm like, dude, you should at least have your bosses have CDLs because they're hopefully
Well,
people
and
that
that's
aren't going to quit, as quickly, But yeah, so the
yeah.
CDL now, it's $6,000. And then plus you got to get somebody that's willing to keep their life clean enough that they don't lose it, which sometimes is a trick depending on where you are and who you're working with. But so I just kind of raised my hand. I go, I got my CDL and that's not something you need all the time. Call me up. I'll take seat time, I don't want a full-time job, but if you got piecework,
Yeah.
I'll run stuff for you.
Yeah.
Cause
Little fill in deals.
yeah, cause you get all the crap that goes with a CDL, and that's something he's had problems with his employees is just having people that are sober and clean and that kind of stuff. And it's like, you can't have a CDL and have any chemical problems because you'll lose it the first time you get pulled over.
Do you have to get your med card too, where they check your blood pressure and all that?
Well, that's a national thing. Yes, it does. If you're driving for revenue, you have to. If you're driving for yourself, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
But driving for yourself would be like if you own this vehicle, but you're not doing it for generating revenue. I got a
Yeah.
dump truck. I only use it for personal use. I don't ever haul dirt for money or whatever. Well,
You're
then,
not for hire.
right. So then you need it to drive the vehicle, but you don't need the med card because you're not doing it commercial. So the same is for if you need a DOT number. So you only need the DOT number if you're doing it for revenue. And so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so there's, and then of course, if you get pulled over, they can push it whatever direction they want, and then you have to argue it. But
RC performance. If you got guys around you, it can be a lot of fun. If you don't, but it's got to stay fun. That's the key. The no prep stuff is fun as long as everybody keeps it fun.
yeah, when it goes to crap is when people get overly competitive.
Yep.
But that's more of a
Well, Mr.
personality.
John,
That's more of a personality thing, So if you got fun people, we got to read Ash's comment first. Just a second. My back is such a rough shape that I couldn't drill underground anymore. Oh, you were doing mining, Ash. I didn't know that. Had to get a desk job. Now I have the desk job. My back gets sore from sitting much. Yeah. I did. What kind of
well, that's
mining?
why I fidget.
Yeah. Yeah. For when I'm on the phone and stuff, I'm on a headset and I just go and walk and do other stuff. And,
Yep. Me
oh,
too.
Lordy. Sore butt syndrome. Well, that was episode number 5, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Didn't have as much to talk about tonight, so we were kind of a little bit loose, but anyways, we were a little bit less prepared for this one. We'll try to have some more topics in the future, or if anything you guys bring up, or if you message me and have some stuff you want us to talk about, we can follow that too. So anyways, if you guys could give us a like, comment, share, all that kind of fun stuff. If you haven't followed the channel yet, it'd be greatly appreciated. You can also find Rob at Extreme Toys. He is on Facebook and eBay. He buys and sells RC collections or individual RCs. Sometimes he parts them out. Sometimes he sells them whole. All that happy fun stuff. Find a roller and fix your back. Oh yeah. I guess that's about it. Any final words there, sir, from Texas?
Oh, not really. I'm gonna drop a couple links in your group of my YouTube and my Facebook thing, that case anybody wants to try to find it. It'd be the easiest way to do it.
Right. Sounds good. Good night, Mike. Yeah. And by all
Hey,
means,
Jersey Scaler! Look, I bought your file. It's awesome. I love it.
no, he didn't. He
Yes,
stole
he
it.
did. He's right there. I no. Don't you do that to me. Don't you do that to me.
Now you got to thank him.
Oh,
He's making us put in overtime. Jersey Scaler, thank you for
damn it.
stopping by.
Yeah. Hey, man, seriously. Good files. Like them. Like them a lot. So, all right, John. Yeah, I'll drop some links in the group. That way, everybody, if they want to find me, they can find me. And
Thank
I'm gonna ramp
you.
up eBay this week and try to get some sales going.
Oh boy. And now I got a phone call coming in. Perfect time to sign off. Anyways, have a
Bye.
great weekend, you guys. Talk to you soon. God bless.